does anyone want to find out any light or dark characteristics which they thought?
I think, well, the first one is that this company uses a charity, so they people working on it receive less salary than actually that's the dark side of this company. So they receive less money per hour than if they were working regular jobs.
Anyone else? No? Okay, just so.
Raise your hand.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say that obviously the one-to-one, obviously profits at 10%, still make profit even doing that.
Okay. I'm going to show you the answers in the next slide. But just so you know, that was our own case study which we all developed. It isn't a real case study, so we'll So here are the answers, guys. All light and dark. Give you a few minutes to have a look at those. They will be available on the website as well when it's active. Okay, so we'll now focus on gang culture and how it can be related to the dark side of social entrepreneurship and be considered dark social enterprises. So the key learnings from this section will be understand how they can be related, gain knowledge of certain organisations and communities it affects, understand some of the key literature on the topic, and then understand the motivations behind social enterprises and gang leaders. Then also you'll be able to clearly identify social enterprises and gangs. Now that sounds easy said and done, but you'll learn as the slides go on. It's very subjective in terms of the socialisation and upbringing you've received. Some interesting points. Mayor and Marty, they claim that social entrepreneurship varies according to socioeconomic and cultural environments. So we've already drawn on that in terms of developed and developing countries. Williams and Knife, they're our main kind of source for this section of the presentation. They articulate balance as a business and give the example of garrison communities, which we will explain in the next slide. And Stone basically says that they're centred around political tradition, values and beliefs and myths. So how did these garrison communities form? Basically, it was political parties who set up housing projects in specific areas and populated them with supporters. Now these supporters were sometimes gang leaders or members of gangs. And basically they would chase out any non-supporters at gunpoint, so anyone who wasn't really in favour of the current governance would be threatened by violence as a sense the community was maintained and monitored by the threat of violent acts. So as a result, this has kept people in persistent state of poverty for quite a long time. So why can't the people leave? There's a lack of opportunity for upward social mobility. There's not many job prospects or educational prospects, and generally do day-to-day jobs to fund just the basic living of their families. And people are generally drawn to the criminal gangs, in particular the young people, because they're appealing to the charitable activities, seen as the protector of the community. Their family members will benefit more if they're part of the gang. And also instill a sense of fear to non-gang members, which gives them a sense of authority. So as a young male or female, this is something that's quite appealing to you. So basically what is actually happening, Harry 2003 explains this. The balance has become a business. A group of individuals sell balance to the business in terms of protection rackets. And then those who are in control of the group of armed men, they exploit this as an economic asset, and basically what they do is businesses who operate in their area, they control them by making them pay a certain amount of taxes, and they claim that they're protecting the business but from other threats, but in reality they are the threat. If they don't pay their protection racket, they will maybe be hurt, the family may be hurt, or the business may be damaged. So here's a video just of an interview, just to give you a kind of idea to the extent of what happened in these garrison communities.
'90s and even into the 2000s. And it struck me as being very interesting why it was that residents came out and were protesting against the state's intent to take Christopher Coke away. And one of the placards which was very telling, as you see on the slide, is it said that Jesus died for us and we will die for Dulles, which is this allegedly drug baron. People were willing to die for him. In fact, a very violent gun battle ensued for a few days between the Jamaican state and criminal gangs loyal to Christopher Coke. And in the end, over 75 Jamaican lives were lost from the community of Tivoli Gardens. And Coke was eventually captured, extradited, and brought before the courts in the New York District Court, and was subsequently charged and is now serving some 23 plus years in jail in New York City for gun and drug trafficking charges.
Okay, so why are these garrison communities and the gangs, why are they not criminalised? So basically, they structure their operations in a similar way to social that they're operating for social change, positive social change, and care for the environment, and they don't seem to operate for profit. So the people within these societies, as that video was just explained, that they're willing to die for certain leaders of the gangs because they feel that they're benefiting them so much. And due to social entrepreneurship flexibility, they can, serve the needs of social needs and economic needs. And then the inclusive approach of social entrepreneurship, this raises and enhances the social capital which the youth can find in the gang culture. This may be through networking or just general friendships. However, the key to kind of decipher between social enterprises and gangs is the motivation. So the state doesn't satisfy the needs of society, so the gangs come in. The gangs become very powerful within the garrison communities, and due to gang leaders having similar traits to entrepreneurs, they're very innovative, they take risks obviously, and exploit opportunities where possible, and that opportunity is obviously deceives people in the garrison community who believe that they're helping them. And as I've just mentioned, they have similar operations to social enterprise in terms of not-for-profit and aim for social change. And the motivation is the key concept and idea here, which you need to kind of use to be able to decide between the two. The main motivations are loyalty to the political party, which the gangs are standing up for, because they favour the current political state and they don't want that to change, so that benefits them as an individual or just their general organisation. So if they develop loyalty, no one's going to rebel against them. They obviously maintain power through fear of selling balance of the business, and this is a private good in terms of it's only beneficial for people in the organisation and the individual involved, not the wider society. So some interesting links between gang leaders and entrepreneurs. So obviously you may have thought that I was talking a bit of rubbish there, but they desire independence and go against status quo. This can lead to criminal activity or to start a business. That's one thing in common. Normally only organised crime, which is what garrison communities and the gangs are involved in, that qualifies as being entrepreneurial. And then people who engage in illegal activities, they know they have a strong desire for self-employment. Then also, crime in countries lacking entrepreneurial incentives without a robust entrepreneurial policies, such as in Jamaica where the garrison communities are. They don't really have any policies which provide incentives to start your own business, so people naturally just lead to crime as a source of income. And then obviously most gangs are kind of founded and started informally, and Williams obviously claims that entrepreneurs commence their operations informally as well. So we looked into the Schumpeterian idea of an entrepreneur. So these are quite You know, they kind of represent the gang leader as well, so they desire a private kingdom, they want to conquer, and they want satisfaction in what they do in problem solving. And in terms of problem solving, they're not really solving society issues as such as solving their own issues really, and then the society issues are put below those. And obviously want to conquer the community and maintain power and instill that sense of fear. So what do these findings kind of suggest? Well, it creates a blurring of social entrepreneurship within these garrison communities. We can't really, from our perception, from our socialisation, we believe that it's wrong, it's not a social enterprise, but then people who have essentially been brainwashed or deceived believe that it is a social enterprise and for the benefit of the people. So one case study is the ABC Corporation. This will be available on the website, like a big long essay about it. But basically, a bit of background about them. The CEO is the son of the former Don, who died, and his elder brother actually took over, was then killed by those in rebellion. Their main kind of ethos and mission is to make sure the current political state receives full support from the community. And they try to support the organisations, people, but also the community as well. And by supporting the political state, they receive contracts and also payouts. So they have a formal and informal network, and when the new CEO took over, he kind of introduced new businesses, bought some new businesses in the security trade, in the construction trade, and in the trading trade. So this gave him a big formal network, and especially the security trade helped him with his narcotic trading. Which is probably one of the main fundings for the social enterprise. In terms of informal, he also looked after the downtown Kingston area, where he ensured that the dealers and sellers of narcotics were safe. So everyone trusted him, and they believed he was a great person, and believed that this enterprise was helping society. So what are some of the intervention activities that they've employed? It's important here to know that it's a buy-in and be loyal kind of philosophy. Once you're invested, you have to maintain that loyalty to the gang and the leader. So they did kids programs, golden age programs, which would help the elderly. The kids programs would help children go to school, and then even in prison, people would receive financial support, maybe for their children who needed to go to school as well. So we must ask, can social enterprises which are funded by resources from organised crime, can they be categorised as social entrepreneurship? Does anyone think that some of the benefits that they're providing to society, would you class them as a social enterprise even though they are criminal as well? Raise your hand if you think they're social. No? Yeah? Okay.
It's sort of like the purpose of sort of social enterprise for a social purpose. Surely if they're setting up an enterprise and its main aims are social, then it would be classified technically as a social enterprise.
So that's a very open view you've got there, but obviously we have to consider the subjectivity involved. It's due to our socialisation and our education, which we believe they're not social. And obviously the people in the garrison communities, they believe they are. So the answer is no. Things to consider are the One World health business, the second business in the Grameen Bank, which we've already drawn on. So compared to ABC, they help society where traditional institutions can't. But the two characteristics here are the resource accumulation and the motivation. Motivation, we know, is the power, control, and their own private goods. And the resource accumulation, as I've drawn on, the CEO, the Don, he doesn't have any experience in a political enterprise, so how is he funding this? And this leads many scholars to believe that it's through the drug and narcotic trade, which is, I'll always bring in social change, it's still a criminal activity. So the real aim isn't really to transform the lives of the poor through value creation, the real aim is power. So we'll now look at greenwashing.